Now, Taylor Guitars has 5 body shapes. Okay, we have the Grand Auditorium, the Grand Symphony, Grand Concert, and then the Dreadnought and Jumbo. Okay, the first one is the Grand Auditorium body shape. Now, as far as size, okay, the bigger the body shape, okay, you expect more volume and more bass, right? The smaller body shape is more of a balanced sound with a good amount of clarity to it. Okay, so we're going to start right in the middle with the Grand Auditorium, which is, if you've ever seen a Taylor guitar on stage or heard a recording of it, okay, there's a high percentage, like an 80% chance that it's a Grand Auditorium body shape. And it's pretty much what put Taylor Guitars on the map. All right. So with the Grand Auditorium, has a very balanced sound to it with about a medium amount of volume. Okay, pretty much straight ahead. Now, if you look at the lower bout, okay, it has pretty much the same width as a Dreadnought. Okay, so you can really dig into it and get some good amount of volume if you really want to. And we all like to call it the Swiss Army knife of body shapes, right? Because you can do pretty much anything you want with it. So, if you're the type of player who just plays around in your room, wants to do recording, or plug it in and play live, then Grand Auditorium is a good place to start.
Yeah, I'm a vain and fragile guitar player, so you should clap after every single demo. I'm kidding early. It'll waste all of our time. That was my trick. I was trying to trick you into being in control of you. All right?
You guys are good monkeys.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Well done. All right, here's the thing. Raise your hand if you have aspirations of being a working guitar player someday, of paying your mortgage as a guitar player. I like your honesty. What's your name, son? Max?
All right, Max.
All right, here's the thing. Max, as a working guitar player, is going to have to fake it till he makes it. So he's going to have to do salsa gigs and singer-songwriter gigs and chord melody gigs and all that stuff. The thing that Max will unfortunately learn is that even as a pro guitar player, you will probably never be rich. All right? Good news, bad news. All right? You kind of don't really ever have a job, but you also don't ever get rich. Okay? So you're a guitar player for a living. Max needs to understand that he has a fixed amount of money. Taylors are not cheap. All right, we understand that these are like the Mercedes of guitars. They're not the Ford Festiva of guitars. So Max and lots of us have enough money for one Taylor guitar. And if we have more than one gig, if we have sometimes singer-songwriter gigs and sometimes instrumental gigs, we want that one guitar to be able to cover a lot of different bases, right? That's the Grand Auditorium. It was my first Taylor guitar because I needed something that could do just about everything. And it has that big lower bout that allows you to kind of get nice and loud when you dig in, but that reduced upper bout allows you to wrap up around it and play some of the more intimate stuff as well. So it's a really versatile guitar, the most versatile Taylor that we make.
You have a question? Okay. All right, so that's the Grand Auditorium. Now the next one, we're just going to switch guitars and play it real quick. And see if you can hear the difference between these two body shapes.
Yeah, I know you heard that.
Thank you, Corey Witt. Good night.
You really don't have to clap after every demo. It'll be a very long night, man. My head will get even bigger. So.
Yeah. All right, what'd you guys hear? More bass? Fuller sound? Yeah? Okay, you guys are right. Just a little bit of everything. Right? Now, let's compare them side by side. Okay, can you guys see the difference? What we did is a lot of people love this body shape and its versatility, okay, but they just want a little bit more volume. Okay, see, my background is I'm a bluegrass player, so I just inherently just dig in on every guitar, no matter if it's a nylon or a small body guitar. Okay, so what we did is we took the grand auditorium body shape and moved the waist up a little bit. All right, and then on the lower bout, can you be my Vanna?
Yes.
The lower bout, we added about an extra ½ inch of radius to the lower bout. Okay, but just that little bit adds a lot of more volume and bass to it. All right?
How wide is it?
Then we got a ruler? I'm not exactly sure. Can I guess? Like 16½ inches?
This is
What model is that?
a Grand Symphony.
That's a Grand Symphony body shape. It's an 816 CE. Which brings up a good point. When this body shape section, we're using all the same tone wood. Sitka spruce top, rosewood back and sides. Okay, so if you love rosewood and Sitka, you're going to hear a lot of it tonight. All right, so we're going to move on. Yeah.
I seem to hear more bass, but also the mid-tone sounded a lot fuller.
Yeah, you're exactly right.
He said he heard more bass, but the mid-range sounded more full as well. You're exactly right.
Okay, so the third body shape is our Grand Concert. It's the smallest body shape that we offer. And it's also the only standard model we make with a shorter scale. Okay, so when I talk about scaling, I'm talking the distance from the nut to the bridge. Okay, on most Taylors, it's 25½ inches. But on the Grand Concerts, it's 24/7/8. So what does that mean? Well, with a shorter scale, there's less tension on the strings, so it's a lot easier for your fretting hand to make chords. Okay, if you have difficulty doing bar chords, it's a lot easier with the shorter scale. Or if you're a finger stylist, it's a lot easier to play. Not only with this hand, but with your picking hand too. If you want a short scale on any Taylor, and you can do that on any standard model, it's about $200 for each I can do that. So let's hear it.
Grown men are crying. Some of you accidentally just fell in love with me, right? It's the guitar, okay? So that's, a grand concert is this, like, little small, intimate, secret weapon, right? I feel like there is an E note that is just hovering around the room. Yeah. Anyway, all right, so here's the thing. Because it's like this small, intimate guitar, it's a short scale instrument, it's actually smaller in surface area right here, that's going to affect the sound. And it's a shallower guitar too, okay? Everything about this guitar invites you to wrap up around it. You can get closer to it, you can address the instrument differently than you would some of the bigger body guitars, right? So everything about it wants to have that nice, soft, quiet, intimate voice. Now, raise your hand if you have children. Okay, some of you have them here, so you can't lie, all right? I have 3. My 2 oldest are my boys, and they're the ones that always get corrected because my daughter's perfect, right? So if they're playing ball in the street and they want to chase it out into the road, I say, boys, stop, right? More volume, more bass. Because I want them to feel like God himself is talking to them, okay? That's exactly, right? Now imagine if I gave my wedding vows with that same tone of voice, right? I would look abusive at the altar, right? So there are times in life we want to speak loudly and boldly and assertively. We want to call someone to action, get them out of their seats. There are other times in life we want to speak softly and quietly and intimately. And we want to subdue people. We want to calm them down. We want to make them accidentally fall in love with us. When we're making music, You're doing the exact same thing. You're just communicating with sound and with notes, right? So this guitar has that soft, quiet, intimate voice. However, you can't write it off as just the soft, quiet, intimate guitar. Because raise your hand if you play in a larger band, if you play with other people. Raise your hand if you have aspirations of doing that someday.
Oh, Max.
Okay, yeah, there you go, Max. All right, there's a general rule of mixing live sound that says if everything is big, then nothing is big, right? So let's just take the front row here, and we'll say that this is Max's touring band, okay? The drummer's over here. He's got a 30-piece kit with a gong behind him. Bass player's right here, and he's got 2 big bass stacks, and he's got a 7-string bass so he can play solos as well, all right? We have 3 lead guitar players here, each one with big old Marshall stacks behind them and flames and pyro and explosions and stuff like that. We have a percussion player who has all this stuff from South America that does the wickety whack and the shock and awe, right? And then we have a keyboard player who's surrounded by ivory with organs and keys and pianos and stuff like that. Now you can imagine that that would all sound huge, right? You're exactly right. It sounds huge. The only problem is it's indiscernible. It's a big steaming bowl of oatmeal. You can't hear what any one of these people is doing. So if we can get each of them in the band to narrow their sonic footprint, they all have a place in the mix, and everyone's volume can come back up, right? As opposed to everyone's volume coming down just to manage the cacophony. So you as a listening audience, you want to be able to hear each individual instrument. Now the best way to do that is for each person to find his or her place in the mix, and then we narrow our sonic footprint, and then everyone's volume can come back up, and you as an audience hears clarity and some discernment in between the different people on stage. A guitar like this, because it brings in some of that low end, and because it rolls off some of that top end, it's a little bit more focused. So it sounds great in a larger band mix, right? If I take this pick and I go, it's really focused. It doesn't have that roaring low end, right, that the Grand Symphony would have, which might compete with a bass player or a heavy left-handed piano player. And it really doesn't have a whole lot of sparkly top end that might compete with a percussionist or the sibilance of a singer, the articulation of the singer's voice, right? Does that all make sense? So this is a great, quiet, intimate guitar, but this is also a great larger band guitar because it has a nice focused placement in a large band mix.